YouTube, how are we? Welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to run you through a push-pull leg split, basically a free program for you guys to literally copy and paste and try for yourself. And I'm actually going to take you through every single exercise, the reasons behind that, the rep ranges, the sets, the working set intensity, all this sort of good stuff as well. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I really hope you can take something from it as well. And even if you take one exercise or two exercises, or even try something new, you guys to add into your training program, I'm doing my job right as a YouTuber, if you want to call myself that. We're going to run through a push-pull legs rotation A, and then in another video it does well and you guys want to see more of it, we'll do a push-pull legs rotation B. So a lot of the things you may see in today's video, because I know I'll probably get some comments, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Again, this is my fucking training program. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat in the bodybuilding industry. There's not one way fits or one size fits all, okay? Remember, just because someone preaches to you, you should be doing this, doesn't mean it's fucking right. So everything that you see in today's video is purely down to just recommendations. Try it, see if you get on with it. If you don't fucking do it. If you do, love it, brilliant, perfect. So always take that into consideration. So let's stop waffling. Let's get straight into it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. So you're gonna start your first session off with a push session. So I always like to start off with lateral raises when doing push days, purely because I think most people, when I analyze their physique, they need more side delts. Like, I've never looked at anyone's physique and gone, oh fucking hell, their side delts are overpowering. So try, if you want that 3D bubbly look to those delts, it mainly comes down to the rear delts and the side delts. So really get good at side delt work. And I think doing it first, for me, allows me to warm up my shoulders quite nicely for the bigger portions of the lifts. Now, today's session is going to be mainly focused on chest. I will then do a second rotation, which is predominantly focused on shoulders. So that's what I would do if I was typically rotating between an A and B push session, one chest, one shoulders. I move on to a pec fly. So I like doing pec flies before I go into a compound. And the reason behind this is I like to pre-fatigue my chest. When I go into a compound movement on my chest and and I go into it and I can't feel my chest, it never really goes well. Whereas when I do an isolation before it, one, I get to use less weight, which actually helps with my joints, especially my elbows, which gets fucked over time. And two, I can connect way better with my chest. I move on to a incline flat sort of press. It's sort of a debate that I get from a lot of people who watch my videos. Some people say this is incline, some people say it's flat. We're just gonna call it a pin loaded chest press, which is my main compound movement. So I always say when you are hitting your chest, you want to hit it from two different angles, horizontally and vertically. So what you'll see in today's session is I hit my chest horizontally and I'll also hit my chest vertically with this press, as you can see. So two variations of this. Again, top set, back off set. I like the prime press. If you've got these particular machines at your gym, you can easily use it. If you've got a Smith machine, you haven't got this machine, then a Smith machine works really well. Dumbbell pressing works really well. And then obviously if you've got a pin loaded press or plate loaded press, you can vary between the two. So as long as you're doing those two angles, you're gonna hit the chest really, really nicely. And that's gonna give you that 3D thickness, bubbly look when it comes to your chest. Now, we wanna really also incorporate a dip movement as well. I think dips, in my opinion, are one of the most underrated exercises that you can do for overall chest, shoulder, and and tricep development, sorry. So I'm using the dip machine here. Again, you can vary between like a weighted dip, you can do a narrow grip tricep bench press with a Smith machine or a barbell. You can even do it with dumbbells as well. It's been a really good movement, dumbbells, in the past. I like this machine because it keeps me a little bit locked in and I have a seat belt on it. And again, I've just been getting on really well with it and I enjoy it. Again, it goes back to enjoyment, guys. You know, if you enjoy something, you're going to more likely progress on it if you enjoy it, right? And then more side delt work. So in this particular session, I won't do an overhead press. I'll just do some sort of side lateral raise work. So I normally mix between here like a cuff lateral raise, or very similar to what you see the guy behind me doing now is like a single arm cuffed, or you can do it with a D handle if you want. I like this side lateral raise machine. It works really well for me and it's a nice movement. And I think the gym was busy on this particular day, hence why I did this. So these sort of like basic movements here, you can sort of be quite flexible with. I like to stick to my bread and butter, my compound movements, but the isolation stuff, there's always a variation that you can do regardless of how good or bad your gym is. And then we move on to an overhead tricep extension. Now, again, you can do this with a dumbbell, you can do this with a Smith machine if you really wanted to, and attach actually straps to it. You can do it as an EZ bar, and you can do it with a cable stack. Now for me, the long head of the tricep is the biggest head of the tricep, right? And if you want big arms, you need to be doing your overhead presses. I see so many people, they do tricep press downs all the time, which is great, but you want to be working that long head. And when you do your front double bicep, if you've got like a big thick sweep underneath the arm there, you're going to be really focused on that overall fucking thickness and having more muscle. So if you haven't got an overhead in your program, I would recommend some sort of movement like that. And of course, make sure you do your abs, guys. So ab training, I normally switch between like a hanging leg raise and a crunch machine like that. You can do it with a rope if you haven't got a crunch machine at your gym. So that is our push session. I'll obviously put everything down below in the description. I'll also highlight it here for you guys to screenshot, try for yourself. And of course, let us know your thoughts, and yeah, implement that and you'll grow. So we're now moving on to our pull session of the week. So this one, I want you to focus on your lats first and your row movement second. And in your rotation B, you can focus on your row movements first and your pull downs second. So that's how it sort of works. First exercise that I'm doing is a vertical D handle Nautilus pull down. You can mimic this by doing it with a bench and doing it on a cable stack. You don't need to use this particular machine. Again, I like to work unilaterally on a lot of my lat movements because we are always predominantly one-sided. And in bodybuilding, you want to have a balanced and symmetrical physique. So I'm now moving on to a horizontal row. So again, very similar to like your presses, you want to be hitting your lats vertically and horizontally. So getting as much as you can out of the different angles you can work your lats. So this movement is really good for that overall thickness, that lower lat. So when you do your front double bicep, if you want those lats to hang really nicely, doing a movement like this, or even something like a dumbbell row if you would like to, and if you connect well with that, again, is going to be a great movement for you to connect with. Again, a lot of people, there's this common debate about doing free weight like barbell rows, T-bar rows, single arm dumbbell rows. I've done that in the past, and all that happens to me is I just get injured from that. Whereas when I work with machines, it allows me to really lock in and brace well. So we're then moving on to our row movements here, which you can see I'm doing a upper back neutral grip row. So again, the angles of your elbows and your hands always dictate where you're going to hit each muscle group. So as you can see here, I'm targeting the back now pronated. So I'm doing a pronated upper back row where I'm actually trying to flare or abduct my elbows away from me rather than what I was doing before where I'm keeping the elbows a little bit more narrower. Okay, so two variations here which work very, very well. Two different angles for the back, and again, top set, back off set. The goal is to always try and get stronger. The goal is to always try and beat the logbook numbers and always try and have good form. I must admit, looking back at this and watching this now, this is poor form for my standards. However, I was just having some fun with it, and sometimes just going in and having some fun is key. I do add my rear delt flies onto my pull days rather than my pushing days. It is a part of the delt, but of course I like to think that I'm going to be incorporating a little bit more trap and upper back in general whilst doing rear delt flies. So realistically, I would always program this for a client in the pull days rather than push days. So again, 2 working sets on this, and then we move on to our bicep movement, which for me is going to be a D handle bicep curl, just standing forward and slightly leant forward as well, which is really, really good. I've always preferred cables over free weights when doing my bicep work. However, again, do what works well for you. Some people love a dumbbell curl, some people love a barbell curl, some people like doing meathead stuff. Whatever you enjoy doing and whatever well you connect with and what you can perform safely with is always going to be the best option for you when it comes to your growth. Safety, enjoyment, and what feels good. I've done plenty of movements in the past where some people I look at and go, fucking hell, you're doing that, but they're like, that feels amazing. And I'm like, right, that's cool. You continue doing that then, because if that works for you, that works really well. So I'm going to list the session here for you guys to copy and paste. Try it for yourself. Again, top set, back off set approach. The goal is to beat numbers with good form over time and see how you get on. And of course, guys, let me know your thoughts. So we're now moving on to our leg day, big leg day of the week. So this one is going to be predominantly focused on my quads. The second rotation that we'll do will be predominantly focused on my hamstrings. So I always start calves first. The reason why I do my calf raises first, I can't be fucked to do them at the end. I can't lie. I want to go home. I'm tired. I'm fucked from training legs. The last thing that I'm going to do is put effort into training calves at the end. So do them at the beginning, especially if you've got weaker calves and you want to keep the quality high, do it at the beginning, okay? So I normally mix between a standing and seated calf raise. Again, it doesn't necessarily matter. You can do it on a leg press, like a toe press on a leg press. You can do it on a Smith machine. So there's always a variation around that. Now, in my opinion, adductors are a really underrated exercise that you should be doing in your program. So many people, not so much anymore, but so many people in the past used to think this was a girl exercise. But when you train your adductors and you've got really thick adductors, it adds so much more circumference to your legs. Your legs look so much bigger when you have thick adductors. So again, adductor training should be in your program if you want big overall legs. We move on to the leg extension. I like to do leg extensions prior to doing any compound movement. Again, same reason for training my chest. It allows me to connect better with those compound movements, and I don't need to use as much weight, which allows me to not put as much joint force or tension through the joints. As you can see, guys, everything that we do in today's session, or all the sessions that you see, is all trained to full muscular failure, okay? All to full muscular failure without trying to break down form, okay? When form breaks down, that's where the set is done. So always try and make sure that you are strict with your form, or as good as you can, and don't fuck yourself over, okay? So we're moving on to the horizontal hip press, leg press. This is one of my favorite exercises for building quads. Honestly, the stimulus I get on my quads when I do this is fucking outrageous. So a very hard movement, but again, works the quads really well. I always recommend on a leg press, if you want to hit your quads, have a lower stance, okay? The lower you can go, as you can see here, the more you're gonna emphasize your quads. The higher you go, the more glute and hamstring you're gonna involve. So I always try and say with any leg press you're doing, try and keep your feet as low as you can, and try and also as low as you can in terms of your capacity, like mobility, calf, and how tight you are through your calves. You find your heels coming off on machines like this, you probably need to release your calves or work on your mobility, okay? I then move on to a hack squat. So I've always liked leg pressing before doing hack squats. It's always worked really well for me. I think a lot of people always squat before they leg press. Try doing it the other way around and see how you get on here, okay? So again, form is really controlled here, getting as much range of motion as I typically can. The more range of motion I can get and the more knee flexion I can get, the more I'm gonna be able to stimulate my quads, the more explosiveness that I can build. And that's something that I preach in terms of a lot of my clients and a lot of the work that I do, okay? It's go into the range of motion which feels comfortable for you, which doesn't allow you to jeopardize your lower back or create more injury or more tension on the knee. I then move on to a lying hamstring curl. Again, if your gym doesn't have a lying hamstring curl, seated hamstring curl is okay. But I've always been a big fan of the lying hamstring curl. I always like to implement both. So in my second rotation, if I did if I did a leg B session, I would incorporate a standing or seated, or I would do a line. I'd sort of mix between the two here. So I had this one at the gym, which was obviously unilaterally. Again, I used to play a lot of football when I was younger, so I've got an imbalance in my leg. One leg is always bigger than the other. So working unilaterally allows me to kind of create more balance, as I am a competitive bodybuilder. You know, I want to be stepping on stage and having perfect symmetrical physique, not one side being completely opposite to the other. So that concludes our push-pull leg split, and that includes the rotation A of this. Now, if you do want to see a rotation B and what I would do there, then obviously please do let us know in the comments, and that's something that I can definitely do for you. But this is literally something you can literally copy and paste and try for yourself. You know, I think, like I said to begin with, bodybuilding is all about experimenting. It's all about finding what works best for you. And I know there are already going to be comments on this video saying, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. Again, it's not one size fits all in the bodybuilding industry. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat. You just need to find what works best for you and stick to that, and stick to what you enjoy most, and stick to what you see the most progress from. That's what it comes down to, okay? The person that's going to be consistent for many years is always going to go further than the person that is more optimal but only does it for 12 weeks. So stick to what you guys know best. And if you found this video useful, even if you take something from this video, I've done my job right and I'm happy. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Save it, share it, whatever you need to do. And yeah, make sure you train hard, make sure you send it, and make sure you make fucking progress, because that's what it's all about. All right, guys, lots of love. I'll see you guys in the next one.